So I've always been the biggest advocate for telling your story, even if it's messy or it isn't the most positive thing. But I'm apparently also a very big hypocrite because I almost didn't do this because I was really worried that everyone else's would be super positive and I'd have, like, it's not negative, but it's not the happiest thing in the entire world. And I was really worried that I would be the Debbie Downer of the group, so I almost didn't do it. But if we're looking at this year, it's been pretty hard for everyone, and the thing that I am the most thankful for is gonna sound so crazy, but this year a lot of personal situations have, come up, and a lot of things have happened, and I have had to take on a role in the past few years that I never really wanted to take on. I didn't want the stress of it. I didn't want to make all these decisions. I didn't want to be the person in charge or the responsible person. But I've had to become that person, and I have to be content with it. And I don't know how apparent it is because I try very hard to act like my life is absolutely perfect, and I've had a normal childhood, a normal teenage years, but I really haven't, and it's kind of awkward right now just to talk about it. One day maybe I'll be brave enough to tell my full story without, hiding parts. But I have had a very not normal life, and there have been a lot of crazy things. Like, sometimes I'll tell Harrison stories and he's just like amazed, at the craziness of it all. But I've had to forgive a lot of people for a lot of different things, and in all human rationale, like in every sense of human thinking, they're not worthy of forgiveness. And so, like, if I were talking to someone else who wasn't in the church, they'd be like, oh no, you don't need to forgive them. But we don't really work under these reasonings, and we're supposed to take on the mind of Christ, and he would disagree with that. And so I've had to learn to forgive people, and it's the hardest thing ever. It really is. And I thought that I had, and I thought that I moved on, and I was like, it's fine, everything's good, I'm just gonna forgive and forget, I'm just gonna move on, it doesn't bother me anymore. And I 100% convinced myself that I had moved on, and it wasn't a big deal, and I didn't care anymore. And I don't know, I guess the I don't care anymore was kind of my sign that I was actually bitter and not forgiving, but whatever. I thought I had learned it, and I really didn't, and I was just deceiving myself and letting myself think that, because it was so much easier to convince myself that I had than to actually examine the situation and relive those experiences and really just talk about my emotions. Like, it was so hard to even say that. And it's so much easier to just, sweep it under the rug, act like it was all fine, and then not actually forgive people. Like I said, the crazy personal experiences have popped up this year, and I've had so many conversations with Harrison this year because, because he is very good about being level-headed and clear thinking, and I know his family is probably thinking that I'm crazy, but I lived through these experiences, so I'm very emotional about them, and I can't think very clear about it. But Harrison is very able to see, like, this is what happened, this is how you responded to it, this is how the way you responded wasn't very healthy, and all these coping mechanisms you developed weren't very healthy, and this is how you really haven't moved on, even though you think that you have. And so through a lot of conversations with Harrison and the things that have happened this year, I really realized I had not moved on, and I had not done it correctly. So the thing that I am thankful for the most this year is the fact that God was gracious enough and merciful enough to not only allow me to do something I should have done correctly the first time, but he is helping me do this. And so I'm in this process of getting over things and moving on, and through the whole thing he's been there. And this is gonna sound so cliche, but like, I have not had very many constants in my life, so everything just seems to go, and then nothing really seems to stay. I am just very thankful that he is constant, because I haven't had those experiences, and I can't believe it or understand it sometimes, because it's just so crazy to me. But I'm very thankful for that, and I'm so thankful that he allowed me to do something that like I said, I thought I had done it, and I thought I knew what I was doing, and I could do it all on my own, which clearly I can't, because sometimes I feel like you really can't do it without his help. And this is just one of those circumstances where I could not do it by myself. And I am no preacher, and I don't claim to be. The closest I get is posting what Harrison calls mini sermonettes on Instagram. But um, unforgiveness leads to bitterness, and bitterness leads to resentment, and resentment can lead to hatred. And so if you don't cut off unforgiveness at its source, it can lead to a life of resentment and hatred and being a very, very bitter person. And I was kind of on the road to doing that without even noticing, without even realizing. This year, like I said, I've had to take on a role recently where I did not want to do it, and I was becoming very resentful of the fact that I had to be the one to do this. I didn't want to be the one to do this. I didn't want to have to deal with this. I wanted to be able to be my own person, do my own things, not have to worry about anything else, and not have to be a responsible person responsible for everything else that's going on. um, and when you finally let yourself let go, and when you finally ask for help, and you ask God for help, and you let go of these things, it is very, very freeing. And I don't know, so if you find yourself in a position where you thought that you had moved on, and you thought you had forgiven people that you needed to forgive, and you thought that you had really moved past something, but there was just part of you that was just latching onto it and not letting go at all, ever. And there was just part of you that just will not let go, and it just lingers there, and it can't move on. Then I highly, highly, highly suggest letting go of it and really taking it to God, because He is able to do so many things that we can't even imagine. And I think that one of those things is helping us forgive even when it seems impossible in our human brains that are faulty and they don't see things clearly sometimes. But like I said, it's very freeing to be able to really let go of things that you've been holding on to your entire life and just move on. And like I said, I'm just very thankful that He helped me do this thing that I clearly didn't do right the first time. And I'm really thankful that He is just a constant in my life, and He's there, and He doesn't let go, and He doesn't move on without me, and He doesn't leave me whenever things may be getting bad or anything, because I haven't had many constants in my life, and everyone just seems to leave, but He hasn't, and I just can't believe it sometimes. I'm just thankful that He's there, and He's constantly there, and no matter where I am or what I'm feeling, He's still there in all of it, and He gives out second chances, because if He didn't give me the second chance to learn again how to forgive people that I thought that I could never forgive, then I would be on the road to being a very, very bitter person, and I'm very thankful that He saved me from myself. So, I don't really know how to end this, but I'll let Rolinda do her magic.